And we're back. God bless you, Sly.
Sorry, I thought I'd be on mute.
And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Inside Sports, Fantasy Football. He's playing with his camera. I'm going to play with it too. So there you go. So also as well, Joe Soros here. Maybe, kind of, sort of, sneezing his way through. You can go ahead and check him out. No, it's a snack pack right now, Roy. Last minute getting together. Power just came back up here in Las Vegas, or at least on my side of Vegas. So I said, let's go ahead and do a show. So I'm going to do a show. Who called you that, Roy? Joe? Yesterday? Okay. Well, that's you between you and Joe. All right. But you can find Joe at Simblades, SimbladesWithAY.com. Also as well, of course, he's Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Also as well, of course, want to go ahead and give a big shout out to our good friends, of course, the Lakerholics crew, Jamie Sweet, Laker Tom, Lakerholics.com, and Michael Heinrich as well. Also as well, of course, John Costa, Clutch Talk, and Lakers Corner, _legend 350 on YouTube, Stone Hansen, ad report _ court on Twitter, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, also as well, Lakers in 5, Empire Jet TV, John McCallion channel. Go ahead and support all these great channels. Give you a big shout out, legend. Maybe it's a good thing he didn't get SAR. He was 0 for 15 tonight in Summer League. But it is Summer League. But of course, go ahead and make sure you support all these great channels, including ours, by giving a great like and subscribe to get the latest notification on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Before we get into the nitty gritty on talking about the Lakers Summer League team possibly being a precursor for a Lakers season, I want to go ahead and give respect to, of course, the best sad news today that Joe Jellybean Bryant passed away earlier today, I believe at the age of 70, if I'm not mistaken. I want to go ahead and wish everyone in the entire family our condolences. So our respects to the family involved. I know that even Kobe's widow passed along her sentiments as well on Twitter. I know that Nick kind of just got weird feelings on him because it wasn't worded it's worded very honestly, actually, because I guess there was a strained relationship there between each side of the family on that. So, but again, our condolences to the family of the Bryants, and hopefully they will go ahead and find some peace. But yes, Joe Jellybean Bryant passed away today at the age of 70. Intel Wild, thank you again for the super chat. He says Gary Trent Jr. and Prince both signed for veteran minimums. This is getting scary. Yes, Trent Jr., who was trying to find a better deal, could not find a better deal, signed today with the Milwaukee Bucks. Not much the Lakers can do about it. Rob Pelinka has painted themselves into a corner. Can't pick up more talent if you want to, unless they get rid of some talent. So doesn't seem to be any urgency to do so. So before we really get into it, I want to go ahead and also mention that the Lakers earlier today added to their coaching staff, which Joe usually doesn't care about normally as far as the assistant coaches are concerned. But did want to mention that there was a signing earlier today. I want to go ahead and get it right. Lindsey Harding, the G League Coach of the Year for the Stockton Kings. She was named to the coaching staff today, along with the other coaches she will now be part of. So go ahead and make sure you get up to date on Lindsey Harding, who is, again, she is the G League Coach of the Year, now an assistant coach with the Los Angeles Lakers. So Joe is here. Joe, with that in mind, I wanted to ask you this. with the perceptions that we've had over the course of the past few days with Summer League and how poorly talented we are as far as the roster is concerned and how poorly constructed it was made and the results therein, 0-5. Bronny James, is he 0 of 14 from 3? I don't know. I've lost count. That's okay. I'll just go to awful coaching and he'll just yell me a new, as far as into a new video. In fact, he's already got one up, awful coaching, which I recommended to you guys. So with that said, Joe, with the team so poor, with only Dalton Knecht really the saving grace, and even then his shooting hasn't been terrific because 7 for 21 yesterday's game isn't terrific at all, but there has been some signs that can show some progress in the league. Your thoughts, my friend, is the Lakers' bad summer league performance a sign of what's to come for this season?
Yes.
That's what I thought you'd say. That's why I made it the point of contention for today's show.
There was no out-of-the-box improvement on the team. Picking 17 and getting Knecht was, I wouldn't say it's too difficult to make that pick. You got the pick, you take it, and you go with it. And they just happen to pick, I believe, the right guy. After that, there hasn't really been much. We've discussed it ad nauseum on what's happened since. And there isn't likely to be a move because there just isn't enough. There's just not enough resources to do it. Hiring another assistant coach. You know how I feel about assistant coaches. They're as useful as a ball boy in football to me. Doesn't move the needle at all. We have to wait and see how JJ Redick improves this team because that's what they're banking on. They're banking on everyone staying healthy and doing their job, and then JJ Redick will miraculously put in a philosophy on this team that will make them better than they were last year. That's it. That's what we have to prepare for. And yeah, that's what it's going to be.
And that's tough because, again, you normally say, oh, it's summer league. It's not that big of a deal. Guys shouldn't make a big deal about it. But you look at some of the other teams, Joe, that we faced or that are in the summer leagues, who takes it seriously by lining up the talent to get some quality time. Houston, who we played the other day, probably has like 5 or 6 guys that might make their roster or will be on an NBA roster. There are other teams out there that I saw that are really, really good, that have like 3, 4, 5, 6 players that will play in NBA rotations this upcoming season. With the Lakers, if Dalton Knecht does not hit, Joe, that's going to be a problem because everybody else on this team, on the summer league team, flat out sucks. And that's the problem with Rob not being able to assess talent properly in order for the team to get better overall, to fill the roster back end with depth, with youth and talent that most of these or at least a good portion of these other NBA teams have. The Lakers seemingly don't have that. They filled their roster out with projects and hopes and maybe could get through and maybes and possiblies and afterthoughts. And outside of Dalton Knecht, I just don't see anyone else on the roster giving you any hope to help this team. Bronny has been absolutely miserable, abysmal, terrible. You don't take my word for it. Go to Awful Coaching on YouTube. Brand new video up talking about Bronny. on how bad he's doing. And you could say he's just ranting and yelling and raving like Joe does, on this show. But like Joe, it's worth like a point. Joe, when he's really, really mad, he is making a point. When this awful coaching guy on YouTube points out all the mistakes that Bronny is making, he's backing it up by showing you and demonstrating you why it's so bad for the Lakers right now, Joe. This team is awful, and I'm very worried that it's setting the precedent for the rest of the season.
Yeah, without trying to repeat ourselves here over and over again on every show, I'm gonna go with some new information here based off of the one positive element in this summer's Laker saga, and that is Dalton Knecht. Because I'm tired of having to repeat the same thing over and over again about lackluster players, lackluster general managing, and lackluster ownership. It's at some point you got to get over it and start looking at what needs to get done from a analyst standpoint, because that's what we're doing here on the show is we're analyzing the setup, and we need to back up our analyzation with some facts and some things that make sense. Doesn't mean you're going to be right, but you have to explain it where it makes sense.
Let me give you an example of this, Joe. Let me give you an example. Remember when the first one or two games, we had all those Bronny defenders that were coming into our chat, and they were defending Bronny against your, every time you went on a rant? Where are they now? Yes. Where are they now?
That should be that right there that you just did should be the thumbnail on today's show. That was pretty good. The thing that scares people, and this is not just sports, this is life, right? Is they're worried about criticism. They're worried about rejection to the truth. Or they want to live this fantasy world or this reality that could be. I feel sorry that for people who have to do that. It's a much easier life to live without being full of shit. It really is, folks. I'm proof. You'd have to hang out with me for a few weeks to really see it. Now, what happens in that is there is collateral damage sometimes in that there is a negative kickback from those who think they know what's in your best interest. And when I say in your best interest, they think that you should think a certain way. Otherwise, you're old, you're behind the times, you're whatever, right? It's always that case. And my response is fundamentals never change. I used the word old school the other day, and I actually think that might be a bad phrase these days. I think it's an old cliche that I think needs to get taken out. I'm not old school. I'm about the fundamentals. And the fundamentals in my life and in analyzing sports are the same. I analyze the truth. The truth is I'm seeing certain things going on that a lot of people are not admitting to because they want to hope, they want to dream. And believe me, I want to hope and dream too. But I can't put all my chips in something that isn't what it is. I'm not going to go to the casino and look at the slots where no one is winning and play slots. I don't trust the system. I don't trust that I'm going to get lucky. I don't want to give those scumbags any of my money. And of course, the second I go on the blackjack table and I start winning $50,000 to $100,000, what's the first thing they're going to do? Hey, well, you're winning too much. Get out of here, right? So for me, I got a lot of pride when it comes to that. You gotta take me out when I'm winning. Well, you know what? You can go eat dirt. So I did some research going back to your question. Dalton Knecht is the only positive thing right now going on. And I started looking at what the Lakers would need from him to not be last year's team or worse. And that is, the last rookie starter, I'm not saying he's going to start, but I went to the extreme here. The last rookie starter on a finals team was Courtney Lee in 2009. For those of you who don't remember Courtney Lee missed a out-of-bounds alley-oop that would have won the Orlando Magic Game 2 in LA. He had a lot of promise. He had a lot of skill even in his rookie year, and he helped Orlando get to the finals. He was a big part of that. That was 15 years ago. Now, there might have been a player between them that I just can't remember. I can't remember in 10. I don't remember anybody on the Celtics or Lakers in 10 that were like that, or any of the Miami teams or any of the Warrior teams. I don't remember, or even the Cavs teams. So I think that was the last, if my research was correct, that was the last time you had a starting rookie on a finals team, which is Courtney Lee. If the Lakers were fortunate, and this is where this might make sense, we have said that Austin Reeves might be a better solution to our problems coming off the bench. So let's just say Dalton Knecht just gets the NBA. He can get to his spots. LeBron is able to find him. He's hitting shots when he's open at a 40% clip. He's holding his own on team defense and is available. You know, that has to be a big part of that too, right? If that were the case, then you could possibly start him and then let one of your starters, whom really your starters are your only good players on this team. Anyone else after that is up, you know, it's up to debate or not good. Then now you have a 6-man rotation that upgrades your team. And if you can get one of the other guys to, like a Gabe Vincent or a Vanderbilt, to not actually, you know, die during the season, then you have a 7-man rotation, which is generally what you have in the playoffs. So that's kind of what I'm going to look at here. The Lakers are desperate enough to start a rookie. The question will be, is Dalton Knecht going to be that guy that you can rely on as a rookie? Because the last time we saw that on a contender that made an impact, that started in the finals, was 15 years ago. So it's very rare. It's a very rare thing. 15 years ago is a long time. So that is likely what would need to happen if this team does not upgrade at all this next year. They're going to have to somehow get lucky in getting their only good pickup this year to actually be a big part of the success of the team.
I want to say, though, that Alan's right, and in a way, because Derek Lively started a portion of the season, Alan, but he didn't start in the finals. I think it was Gafford starting in the finals, and he came off the bench. But obviously, he played very significant time, so I get what you're saying, Alan. But he did start during the regular season quite a bit, so I get what you're saying. I said this earlier, Joe, and I threw this out there as far as the possibility that Dalton Knecht, you may want to start him. Maybe we just want to throw him in the fire. You know, his defense be damned. Just go ahead and, you know, just the fact that, you know, if he can shoot, test him out, throw him in the fire. Having him come off the bench may not get him the kind of experience or the kind of, I guess, I don't know, just the way, just for him to get into the flow. Starting may be a better option for him. Austin Reeves has done both starting and being a reserve player in the league, and maybe it'd be more effective for the team if, again, that's the way you work it out.
He makes open shots. He becomes extremely valuable.
Yeah.
The defense
If he gets anywhere close to 40 in his rookie year.
But there's a lot of pressure there. He's going to have to be a unique guy that can handle that kind of pressure. So
You've always talked about the lights.
The lights do get brighter, but there was a few positives last year in shooting. You had Rui go over 40, LeBron went over 40, and D'Angelo went over 40. If you can add another guy that can hit from 40 or 40%, I should say. And then Austin Reeves seemed like he wasn't a 40% shooter, pretty close, but he felt like
close 2 seasons ago. He was not last year.
I felt like he hit open threes when he was presented with them, which is a good thing. That's really what I want.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer the Cooper Flagg question. I don't know if this is the right comp. He actually might be better, but I'm going to say Cooper Flagg is starting to look like another Giannis.
He is good. He's a game changer, everyone. There's actually 5 or 6 guys I'm starting to see them now overseas and also here. Joe, next year's going to be a whopper draft. If everyone stays healthy, it's going to be a whopper draft, which the Lakers currently are not a part of in the first round. Wouldn't you know? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you know?
Yeah, he's ridiculously skilled. Getting to the basket, shooting. I want to see if he's a killer too. If he's a killer, see, Giannis isn't really a killer. But if this guy's a killer,
he was killing it. I know what you mean by killer, but he was really doing well against.
We haven't seen a killer in a while. We have a lot of. We look at the last 4 MVPs. You have Jokic, who always looks like he wants to go sit in front of a TV every game. Joel Embiid, if there was a player in the league that loved himself more than anyone, would be Joel Embiid. Before then, what was it? I don't know. I haven't seen anyone that just comes in and is like, I'm taking over now. Anthony Edwards has kind of been anointed that next guy. He preaches about how he wants to play every game, which I have a lot of, I have some respect for him there for sure. But I don't know if I look at Anthony Edwards as a guy that can really sit, get in his stance and really make me fear that he's going to kind of do something outstanding. And
that's what you would fear of if you put Dalton Knecht out there and throw him into the fire as a starting 2 guard. You put him against a guy like Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, right off the bat, Anthony Edwards will eat him alive. But that's a learning process.
Well, you combat that with, then if that's the case, then you combat that with getting back to the other side and making them play defense. See, that's the thing here in the NBA. No one really wants to play defense. Very few people want to play defense in the NBA, especially guys like Anthony Edwards, especially guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, Jokic. They don't really want to play defense because it's too much work. Very few guys are going to be able to play on both sides at an elite level. It's very rare. The only guy in the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years maybe that's been able to do that is Kawhi Leonard when he's healthy. That's it.
Got a few questions we got to answer from the crowd. First up, I want to go ahead and hit Intel first because he got on the super chat. Hernan, I got you too. You got you as well, JY. We won 47 games last season. Can JJ and Dalton get us 5 to 6 more wins this season? I say no, because there are teams in the West that got better, and I'm not sure the Lakers, outside of getting Dalton, got better. The lack of depth on this team is really concerning, Joe, and I'll leave it at that. For me, anyway.
You also have to understand that this isn't last year's team. You can't just take all the good parts of last year, put it this year, and say, yeah, cool. If we just add this, then maybe. No, you have to now bank on the fact that LeBron and AD will not have a debilitating injury next year. Because if any one of those two gets injured next year for any extended period of time, like a 10, 15 game injury, you are likely going to not make the playoffs.
And how many times during the course of their Lakers tenure have both guys been on the floor for virtually an entire season as they were last season.
Okay, so we can't really use COVID year as that number.
But the years following since.
After that, none.
Yeah.
Except last year, which we said if these guys can stay healthy and people start shooting, the Lakers would have a chance. What happened? We were wrong. We were dead wrong. They were that bad. That
340% shooters.
Right.
AD and LeBron playing 90% of the games, and we still
barely got in. You were an 8 seed. You were an 8 seed finishing up because you had a philosophy on the team that didn't value games when it mattered. And then you had excuses pulled out of your rear end. I loathe Darvin Ham for that. Sucking at coaching is one thing, but the excuses and the just overall pussiness of Darvin Ham, it was just an absolute disgusting display of leadership in my opinion.
Let me ask you this. If let's say we get to 47 games again, do you call that I don't want to say a win per se, but do you say that's something that maybe contributed with a team that has less talent in a more talented Western Conference? Do you consider that a small victory for JJ if they get to 47 wins again? No.
This team is supposed to win a championship. If you're not winning a championship or at least contending for one, then you need to blow it up. Instead, you quadrupled, you anteed up, you did whatever. And not only did you do that, you did that and also focused you're focused on a player that doesn't belong. It's almost like, how am I supposed to take you seriously that you want to win? I'm not taking you seriously. You're not really about winning. You're about appeasing someone on the team.
Appreciate again the super chats.
Whom has had a long-standing habit of meddling and sabotaging his teams.
Let me get this one in from Hernan. Gerald, do you think the NBA should change in a way that allows players to be on loan to other teams for a season or more, just like in soccer? You know, you're familiar with that, Joe, as far as it's concerned. Yeah.
No, I am not.
You think it would create too much chaos?
I'm just not a fan of any of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know how. I know that Adam Silver likes to copy and emulate a lot of things from European soccer. Obviously, the IST tournament is one of those things. I'm not sure. That's maybe going a little bit too far because that could be something another team could exploit and not in a good way. Like, for instance, when the cap went up high that one year that the Golden State got Kevin Durant. But it would really be hard to work it out logistically between the Players Association and the owners as well. On that, JY says we need to do our homework, but it is outside the box, Hernan, and I give you credit for that. We need to do our homework. JY says that they've been talking about Cooper Flagg for past 3 years. The Lakers trading first-round picks keeps us from maybe drafting a generational talent, which I believe he is, JY, if he stays healthy. You guys' opinion? I think both Joe and I are on Team Cooper Flagg right now. I've seen him now for 2 years, and I go away impressed every single time. More and more impressed every single time, Joe. He is the real deal.
Yeah.
And there's really no way we can get him.
No, there isn't. Those days are gone where you can still win and actually have a draft pick that could do some things. They've socialized the NBA so much that you can't even get better unless you get lucky. And that to me is a stupid way to run a league, but it doesn't matter what they're getting. $76 billion from these contracts, these TV contracts and streaming contracts. It doesn't really matter what we think. There's there's some kind of system going on where there's no accountability for anything anymore. You can suck ass in providing anything and still make money. It's a fixed game. It's just mind-boggling to me. I can't figure it out.
Juan, who is one of the most positive members of our group, and I appreciate him being here. He's always been very kind and gracious. Big shout out to Juan. Hey, Gerald, is this lineup good for you and Joe? D'Lo, Reeves, Gabe, LeBron, and AD, which for him is the best lineup that can win a championship.
No, that lineup will not win a championship.
I just don't have any faith in Gabe Vincent. I'm sorry, Juan. You know, I think his shot is streaky at best. And if he can't stay on the floor as he didn't last season for us, I don't know. If he has another season like last season, it will be one of the worst signings in Lakers history. Free agent signings per se. But
yeah, it's not. I don't see how someone who can't shoot and gets exploited when you play elite teams can help your team out.
He says 41% from three is the weak link.
Who shot 41%?
Wasn't Gabe. Gabe didn't play enough games to shoot. So I don't know
about Rui.
We're talking about. Rui's not great on the defensive end, but sometimes he's given it. And I'm not talking about when he's playing defense against Jokic or Cat. That's not. I'm just talking about he's not the greatest defender.
Anybody watch Rui during the Denver series?
Yeah.
I want you guys to, if you guys really want to see something real quick so I can tell you what happened. Watch what happens to Rui when he would get to the basket.
He's a power forward that's asked to be a small forward on the Lakers. And that's part of the problem right there, Joe.
Yeah. You can't put LeBron anywhere other than power forward because he doesn't play any defense. And that's a big part of this too, folks. LeBron can't play defense like he used to. He can't even play defense like he half used to. He just can't. And if you're going to have him control the ball on top of that, that means there's going to be more energy towards that versus him trying to even out both sides of the court. Plus, LeBron also has a habit of quitting on plays where he leaves his teams kind of in a bind.
And now he's going to do it more because he's getting closer and closer to 40 and he wants to save his strength for the other side.
There's no accountability, folks. There's no accountability for the bad execution of basketball. I keep getting told that LeBron James is some kind of genius, which to me, if you're a genius and yet you make very, very remedial plays, you're not a genius. Geniuses don't make easy plays into terrible plays.
And Alan, you're right on Rui. Yes, you're right on Rui.
Now, at what point, I understand if it's once in a while, like the Celtic game, that was a warranted time where he got hacked on the arm and didn't get called for it. Oh, and that's another thing about the accountability of the NBA. One thing that I know a lot of people don't like Dana White, but Dana White, when you screw up, he blasts you in front of everybody, whether it's a fighter, whether it's a ref, whether it's a spectator that's there, whatever. The NBA, the NFL have a very bad habit of not being transparent with their employees or those that are in their best interest. Guys like the schmuck that they fired or that they retired, quote unquote, who didn't make that call during the Celtic game last year. You know, these type of things are why I don't like people. A lot of times I don't like this corporate BS because there's always this hidden PR worry. I think people would have more respect for you if you're a little bit more transparent and put the accountability on these people who are working for you. Are you worried about looking bad? You already look bad. You might as well tell the truth at least. So looking at the 41% shooter. I'm assuming you're talking about Rui because he shot 41%.
I think he was mentioning D'Lo. I think
Okay,
he was talking
so
about D'Lo.
D'Lo.
D'Lo
Okay.
wasn't in his lineup.
Okay.
Gabe was.
Okay, D'Lo's issue is prime time. D'Lo's fine in the regular season, at least half the time, like he was last year.
And I've got something to add on to that from Juan as in a second. But go ahead.
The problem with D'Lo is he gets exploited in the playoffs, just like most players who've got major deficiencies in their game. He gets exploited in the playoffs. He only had one game where he played well in that Denver series. It's not going to work, guys. We need him to play well, at least if you're going to play a 7-game series, we need him to play 5 good games, at least. But we're getting 1 out of 5, and you saw the results. Lakers lost in 5. Go ahead.
No, I was just actually, if people want to know how my internet is so good again. Well, as I told Kurt, I went to the feet and I groveled at the feet of Cox Cable, and I just went back and I told him I took it up the yin yang as far as the rates again. So yeah, I just went back to paying more. So sorry, T-Mobile, you suck. But anyways, I do want to go ahead and mention Intel Wild, and I'll get back to Juan's second question on D'Lo. Intel Wild says in the super chat, thank you so much for the super chat again. Really helps out, especially after going back up to Cox Cable. How did we miss out on Trent Jr.? Well, the ineptness of Rob Pelinka would probably be the best place I'd start. I know Trent Jr. was desperately trying to get any kind of monetary, like a mid-level, anything close to that, Joe, and failed to do so. All that was left was veteran minimums, and that's what he got from Milwaukee, Joe.
Juan, D'Lo is not a great player. He's a good player. He's a borderline C+ B- player, but he's not
a third star.
He's not a third star, and he's not a great player.
Thank you, Darren. Appreciate
a great
it.
Player is Anthony Davis, Giannis.
But leading into his question, he asked this earlier.
It's important that this is clear.
Hold on. Because he was asking as well on top of it, Juan, was about is he, in your opinion, a third star? And I say, no, he's not. There's a reason why he has bounced all over the league, Juan. He has never been. The only time he was at number 1 was with Brooklyn when he played with Kenny Atkinson, when they were really trying hard, when they made that first round of the playoffs. But they were so enamored with him, Joe, they shipped him off to Golden State, who shipped him off to Minnesota, who found out they were a better team statistically with him off the floor than on it. So they traded him to the Lakers, Joe. What does that tell you? He's a good regular season player, but he's definitely not a third star when you need him the most.
Correct. But you still do need him because you didn't have
you need a salary, for trade.
You need a salary. You also need his ability. There is no, if he had left, there would be no point guard on this team. It would be LeBron. And LeBron playing 40 minutes a game would have guaranteed he would be done at some point during the regular season, especially coming off the Olympics, which is very likely going to be taxing. They're going to have to earn this title. The reason why they decided to pick Derek White to come in, besides the politics, which is hilarious. It's never ending with this political garbage, because Jaylen Brown said something about Nike. Apparently Nike doesn't want Jaylen Brown, right? But Jaylen Brown plays the same position as 4 other guys on this team, whereas Derek White is more of a plug-in player for that position that you need to kind of fill in that perfect role player. That's what they did there. They're not just getting the 12 best players in the NBA. They're trying to make the team fit so it all flows together well.
But I want to get back to Intel's question first. And then again, thank you so much for the super chat. Truly appreciate it, Darren. I want to give you a heads up. He was talking about Gary Trent Jr., why we lost out on a talent like that who ultimately signed for the veteran minimum. Again, it's something where Rob made the mistakes. He signed all those guys last year to contracts where they could pick up their option. They all sucked last year for the Lakers, so they all decided they weren't going to get a job anywhere else that's better. So they all took the guaranteed money. And now you put yourself in a position where you didn't trade any of these, the junk out there, the Cam Reddishes, the Lewises, the JHSs of the world. So now you clogged up your whole roster, Joe, with players who cannot give you a good contribution to your team. So players that can, like Gary Trent Jr. or other players out there that are really good values, go on by to other teams, Joe.
Groundhog's Day all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why we couldn't pick up anybody, guys, is the team is stacked. It's done. You have to get rid of players. And for them to get rid of these players, these bottom dwellers, you still have to attach second-round picks for somebody to take them. And the Lakers don't want to give those up either. Lakers are...
Or pay cash.
The Lakers are
they don't want to do that either.
The Lakers have almost flipped the script. They've become the New York Knicks before Leon Wood and that group and the Worldwide West group took over. Since they've taken over, the Knicks have become relevant. They've been run in a way where you actually resemble a basketball operation. The Lakers are running a team based off of feelings. They're running a team based off of happiness. They're running a team based off of hope. We get there instead of punch you in the face and we're going to go get this, which is it's a microcosm of their city, microcosm of their state. Same state I live in, same area I live in. I know because I see these people around. About as weak and pathetic as you can be, especially with people with that kind of resource, rich people who have so much influence because people are slaves to money and will do anything for money. When you have the money, that's what it affords you. It affords you to control people. It affords you to control anything and everyone. And that's another part of what I was talking about earlier is when you're a threat to that, by the way, when money can't buy you, people get very vicious in their discussions because now they start seeing, yep, this guy's making us look bad because he can't be bought. And looking at the Lakers, what are they really concerned about? Who did they hire today? Do you really need 4 assistant coaches?
Most teams do, yes.
For what?
One usually sets up the offense and primarily works on the offense. The other one for defense. The other one for player development. I don't know what the other one does, but
player
that's
development.
Yeah.
Wasn't everyone licking everything up and down with Phil Handy? Why did they get rid of Phil Handy then?
Obviously, they didn't like the player development.
You know what player development is in the NBA?
Go ahead. Enlighten.
Acquiring talent. How many actual really good to great NBA players need development? They need coaching. They don't need development. You can sit there and try to develop Bronny James all you want. They ain't going to do shit. So what exactly are they developing? Film? What exactly are they developing? LeBron? Are they going to be able to develop LeBron not leaving his players and his teammates in the lurch when he doesn't get a call? Are they going to teach Rui to make layups when there's aggressive defense? What exactly are they going to develop? I want to know. It's a legitimate question. What are you going to develop? You have one draft pick you picked, and then you had another draft pick that you could have gotten someone maybe that you could develop. Decided not to. So now what? How am I going to believe you if you want to develop young talent for the long haul? With what? sticks and branches. See, I'm not. This is the part. These are the parts that I don't like. This is the bullshit that I cannot stand. Just blatant BS. That means nothing. Player development. It's just a tag. It's just a line.
I will say, though, that Joe, and once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. JSJ says our best signing is a coach. Again, I'm not going to say either way if the podcaster is going to be good or not good. I got to see him out there, JSJ. I got to see how well he talks a great game. He has already got people like just entranced. I've watched shows, I've watched channels. Our own beloved good friend John Costa, he was already entranced by all the words that JJ has said. So JJ, and of course Tom has already called him a future legacy coach, so he's already in hook, line, and sinker. I want to see him out there coach, JSJ. I wait and reserve my judgment until we actually see how well he does, whether he wins or he loses. How well does he handle that? How well does he make decisions? How well good are his rotations? Does he adapt on the fly? We'll be judging. Joe and I will be carefully analyzing that, especially in the first third of the season. And he'll have some bumps in the road. Obviously, coach is going to make some mistakes, especially a rookie coach, Joe. But come halfway through the season, hopefully a lot of that will be ironed out. He'll get now in a rhythm. The way he coaches, he'll get his coaching style a little bit more solidified and be able to go ahead and translate that to some Laker wins down the road.
Lakers cannot afford to start slow again. They haven't started fast since 2020. It's been 5 seasons now where they've started slow. And it's going to be difficult because you're going to have 2 of your stars tired already coming into training camp. And then you have a rookie coach that needs to implement an offense and a philosophy that no one's seen. What exactly does he coach? We don't know that. Is he going to do just simple pick and roll? Is he going to motivate a certain way? I don't know. He doesn't have a triangle offense or a flex offense that you can say, well, that's what he's going to do. And I think this is going to work because AD does this, AD does that.
So let me ask you this. If you're Dane Johnson, the coach of the Lakers Summer League team and also the coach of the G League South Bay Lakers, and you just saw the G League Coach of the Year one up you and get your spot on the coaching ladder, how would you feel right now?
Well, based off of Dane's coaching in the Summer League, it's been pathetic.
Pretty much.
And I'm not going to buy that he's not doing what he's supposed to do because he's worried about losing his job because he's got to play Bronny. No. I would have sat Bronny the second half of every game. Hell, I would have sat him probably after the third game. I would have sat him and had him come off the bench. And I would have said, what's going on here? Why are you not hustling? You had a what could have been a 2-to-1 break. You're fast, right? You can jump out the building, right? He's got a 40-inch vertical, right? Isn't that what they said?
Yep.
Why aren't you running? Why aren't you going and getting an alley-oop, an easy bucket? When you're not making your shots, what are you taught? Don't you have a genius dad that knows genius things about basketball? Why isn't he telling you this? Or are you just stubborn or thinking about going and playing video games?
Yeah, that's great. Isn't that great that Bronny won the Call of Duty tournament, Joe? Isn't that awesome?
There is no sympathy for any of these people. I will tell them in their face, all that money, all that fame means dick to me. It means nothing to me. You have all those things and you still suck. So now what? What are you going to tell me now? Oh, I get to go home and I can do whatever I want. I can go buy whatever I want. Is that what it is? I can buy whatever I want too. I'm not going to go buy an 80-foot yacht. I don't need an 80-foot yacht. I'm not going to go buy a Maserati. I hate that shit. I bought a brand new truck. I get up every morning, go do what I want to do every day. I got exactly what you got too. You can't sit there and tell me you got a better life than me. So now let's get down the brass tacks. You have all these resources and you're running the #1 franchise in basketball on the planet, and you still suck. And I'm going to tell you, you suck. And don't tell me you're a genius, because you're not. Geniuses don't fail in the fundamentals ever. And the fundamentals is, if you suck at basketball, you shouldn't play. Sorry, it's not for everyone.
It's the effort that's worrying me the most, Joe, because that's the one thing that awful coaching points out that I see. And I saw it live when I watched him in that first game here in Vegas. The effort, the way he'll give like maybe a dogged effort on defense for a couple possessions, but when he's on the break, he seems to go like at 3/4 speed. When he's running through screens or trying to get open, it seems like it's just going through the motions. And I don't see, he seems like a player that's very comfortable and knows exactly where he's going to be for the next 3 to 4 years, Joe.
I saw enough of Bronny's game at USC. He's not about it. And he never will be. His dad has 2 generational talent. Not a generational talent, 2. Every 2 generations talent. Somebody like Kareem.
The size, the speed, the athletic ability.
Somebody like Kareem, somebody like Wilt, somebody like Shaq, somebody like Kobe, somebody like MJ, right? Now, we factor in a lot of great players in that, right? The T-Macs and the Durants and the Steph Currys. I have a different assessment of what the great is. Now, okay, Steph Curry's great, by the way. I'm not trying to say he's not. And Durant is as well. But there's only a few players that I've watched, that I trust 100% of the time when it comes to basketball. There's only a few. And then after that, it's just, will they be able to fit into this little puzzle to try to win championships? But in between that, especially this year, is where the Lakers have created a flaccid and continued fractured team. And Rob Pelinka is sitting there not talented enough to make it work. He has 7 players on this team, more than half of the roster, that are not equipped to play in the NBA. So how am I supposed to take this team seriously? Because all of a sudden you give Max Christie a lot of money, thinking, oh yeah, that'll motivate him. You really think that's what's going to happen? Is that what you're banking on? You really think Vandel's going to stay healthy all year when he's never stayed healthy all year?
And I know we're going to get a lot of feedback, Joe, just by even mentioning what we did earlier in the show about Dalton Knecht, the possibility of him being named a starter. A lot of things have to go a certain way before that's done. I'm not, saying it, but it's a possibility that it could happen, Joe. And again, this could be a situation where if it works out and it works out well, could be really good for the Lakers and really good for him. But there's some things he needs to work on. His handle, okay, that can be worked upon. That's, Austin, has had a lot of issues with his handle over the years, and he's starting to work on it really good. His defense, though, I'm not even asking for. I'm just asking. I'm making sure that he's not a matador, Joe. If you know what I mean. If he's not a matador, then I really think that good things will come his way, because I think he does have a really good shot that could translate well in the league, from what I've seen. Although Rodell will kill us on a email afterwards just for saying that, because he's so against him already. He's for Max Christie on that Sterling contract, which was voted number 5 among the worst contracts by Yahoo Sports.
I don't really know what the Rodells of the world are really watching or how they interpret English. If English is your 4th language, I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point when you know what you're saying 100% and someone continues to misinterpret what you're saying, at some point you just got to let them go do whatever.
That's true.
And we're not wrong. We're not right all the time. But I'm going to tell you the biggest one last year. We said last year, if the Lakers can keep LeBron and AD healthy and they start shooting the threes on a consistent basis, they're going to win. We were wrong.
We were wrong. We thought they would take that next step, and they didn't.
They're that bad. There are no defensive players on this team other than AD. You could say maybe Gabe Vincent a little bit, but I'm not holding my breath on him being able to play 70 to 75 games.
Vando can play defense, but he's a nothing on offense. It's like playing 4-on-5, Joe.
Correct. Too many deficiencies, not enough completion. Too many holes that can't cover the other hole if you do have another hole covered. And you look at someone like Gabe Vincent, right? You guys are telling me Gabe Vincent's going to help, right? Okay. So in his 5 seasons, 3 of those seasons, he's played 9, 50, and 11. He played 68 games each in 22 and 23. Now
he'll be healthy next year, Joe, because that's
here's what happens.
Season. Well, hold on, let me say this. He'll be healthy next season because that's the final season of his contract. Wherever he's at, he'll be healthy next season.
Of course, and that was
not
that's
this
what
season, but the next season.
A lot. You got to be careful of contract year players, especially players like Gabe Vincent. They play their butts off to get that contract. Once they get the contract, all of a sudden you start seeing them more injured. I call it the Eric Dampier infection. I remember Eric Dampier, I think, won the rebounding title.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember what year it was. Late 2000s. He got this contract and then completely busted. Huh?
Jim McElvain.
McElvain was never good to begin with. I don't even know why the hell anybody would. They destroyed their team making that deal. I still can't figure out what the hell they were thinking there. But Eric Dampier, I remember they're like, "Oh, this guy is a rebounding machine." Second he got his contract, he went to crap after that. Albert Hainsworth would be actually the correct term, but he played football. Albert Hainsworth got a contract, I believe, with the Redskins after his all-pro season with the Titans, and absolutely went to. So I don't trust those guys. Be careful of contract year players. Unless they're great players already or really good players, I would be careful.
D'Lo's the only contract year player.
D'Lo doesn't really have. D'Lo's a little different. D'Lo is going to continue to play contract ball unless
technically LeBron too.
Well, LeBron only does it because he knows he can get the money he wants and he keeps the team at bay. But he didn't really keep the team at bay. He actually took the whole 4 years the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't really do that. That was the first time I think that they said that he actually ran through a contract instead of doing a 1+1 or a 2+1 or whatever it was. We know he's not going to go anywhere. We all knew that. Anyone who thought he was going to go anywhere was just not thinking.
And Juan, again, you're very respectful in the chat. You're very much respected in the chat. We like your positivity, but we just have to call it like we see it. We made that video the other day. Well, at least Joe did. Chip did. based on the fact that, a lot of these other Lakers channels, and I know you hear stuff when you go to Summer League and you talk to some of the people out there, and they know some of the people who run these Lakers channels that when they go on the air and they give all this positivity out, they know they're feeding you a line of BS. And I don't want this show to feed you a line of BS. If Laker Tom feels the way he does, it's because he generally feels like that. If John Costa feels a certain way about something, about D'Lo, he's a bigger fan of D'Lo than any of us. It's that's his feelings. I don't want anybody coming on the show to be something that they're not. And Joe and I, when we did that show the other day, which I'm hoping we'll get the chance to do again sometime down the road, it's because we mock those shows that are putting out there those vibes that are just not true, Joe. And that's one thing I want to get across. But Juan, don't ever change who you are. We like who you are. We like your positivity, but we're not going to also give you in returns something that you shouldn't be hearing from us. That's not true. That's not honest by who's delivering on the show, Joe.
Well, it comes off arrogant. I come off like an arrogant a-hole, and I know it comes off like that. But you also have to understand, folks, it's not arrogance if I'm right. Just like if you're stubborn only if you're wrong.
Now, we want to be wrong, Joe. When we say all this negative stuff about Bronny.
I don't want to have to continue to repeat this, though. See, it's getting old explaining who I am all the time. I don't want to do that anymore. Everyone knows already who we are. I don't need to keep repeating it. You come here to be entertained. You come here to get some information that you wouldn't necessarily get. So the emails that I've gotten and the comments that I've gotten is that we're very informative, which is really the part that I enjoy. This is the first time in my life, other than a small stint on radio, where I get to use my useless knowledge. The useless knowledge is sports statistics, sports eras, all that stuff. It becomes useful now in our discussion. Now I can intertwine the real life analogies and comparisons in there just to kind of spruce it up and make it make sense for some of those people that maybe are watching this that aren't sports people. And I learned that in broadcasting school. I learned that from my mentor, John Chalesnik. What you want to do is you want to create a scenario in sports that can relate to everyday people so that you can draw them in too, that they'll listen to you because they like who you are. They like how you speak. They are entertained by you. And maybe they're not necessarily sports people. So an example, again, your buddy Colin Cowherd, he used a good comparison to everyone's real world scenario where he said the quarterback is like a CEO of a company. When he was explaining Tom Brady, he's the CEO, right? This is the guy that makes the team go. And that's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do as broadcasters so you can have a more broad and general audience that can watch you. But of course, those who are entrenched in the sport, especially the NBA, I know more about the NFL than I know about the NBA, and I know a crap load about the NBA. I mean, a lot. I remember things in the NBA. I paid attention in the NBA. It's been 33 years I've been watching this thing. Everything from 1991 to now, it's going to be impossible for you to tell me that I don't know, or at least have memory of what was going on at that time. And I think people appreciate that. I think they do appreciate that. Some don't appreciate. I think what's happened on the show is those who don't like the show are very quick to leave. Some will say a remark, but they're not really staying. People who like the show stay. And that's all you can ask for. And I'd say the agenda is to educate, entertain, and to try to figure out a way to explain why and what. Why is this team bad? Can it get out of this rut? Does history say it will? Does the roster say it will improve? There's a lot of things going on. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. They're doing this for the wrong reasons. They've allowed things to happen that they shouldn't allow happen. And there needs to be someone out there to, and I don't like a lot of these guys out there, the Rob Parkers, the Nick Wrights, and the Skip Baylesses. Those guys are sewer rats that make money out of being those guys because they know they get your attention being those guys. And maybe they are those guys in real life. I'm not, folks. I am not some negative Nancy looking at every single thing in a negative way. Believe me, when I go to work and I see my guys do their work, 99% of the time, I leave that project and I'm like, this is exactly why I love doing this. They know what they're doing. They're professionals. They're really, really good at what they're doing.
And you let them know, correct?
And they know. Of course they know. It's been 7 years. They've never left. In this business, no one leaves. You know you're doing something right because you take care of your people. You respect them. You respect their families. You respect their time. You respect when maybe they're not having a good day. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Hey, go take, just peace out. I had a guy that I was partnered up with who was jealous at the fact that we had a relationship like that. And I had to unload on this guy on the phone. Hey, don't ever call me and tell me my guys left early. Ever. You've never been over here when they've been here for 13 hours. You were only there when they were there 8 hours or 7.5 hours. You've never been with me when they were here for 12 hours, 13 hours. So don't ever call me and tell me and try to rat my guys out. I already know who my guys are. They know who I am. Don't be that guy. And of course, that guy got bounced, not too long ago.
They're not going to put like Dan Patrick, by the way.
I love Dan Patrick. I think Dan Patrick is my childhood in terms of sports. And I wish I could say the same for Keith Olbermann. Keith Olbermann, Dan Patrick, like went back when he had a mustache, right? Keith Olbermann, like that was the sound of my house when I got home.
He was actually even better on KTLA.
He was Charlie Steiner. I still die laughing at that one program where I can't remember what happened, but Charlie Steiner lost it. He does Dodger games now. He lost it, and you couldn't stop laughing. Like I had never seen that in sports. Right? You've seen it in skits on SNL and all that. But Charlie Steiner saw something, and you could visibly see he couldn't stop laughing. So Charlie Steiner, Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann, those guys, Kenny Mayne, those 90s freaking movie stars of sports, man, those guys were just a big part of like the beauty of sports at that time and the beauty of Sports Center and ESPN. They will never top that era. And I think that's probably why Dan Patrick has some negativity towards ESPN. I don't think they really ever appreciated that.
They kind of didn't part on.
No, they didn't, because Disney is what I'm talking about with the Lakers. They are gutter trash in terms of like when it matters, they'll pull the corporate card. They'll pull the, well, it's a business. It's not personal. They don't take care of the people that made them. They don't care. And that's just kind of how it is.
What's that old book? There was a book that was made on that period of time that is really, really good. I forget what it's called.
Was it about SportsCenter or ESPN?
It was about ESPN, but most of it was centering around the Sports Center and the.
Was it by James Andrew Miller?
I think so. Yeah, because it wasn't The Big Show, because The Big Show's by.
Yeah, it's the book's called. The book is called "Those Guys Have All the Fun."
Yes.
So I'm sorry, and that's not. I'm not leaving it. That's not just Dan Patrick, Olbermann, and Kenny Mayne. I mean, you got Lisa. I'm sorry. God, I forgot her first name. Leslie. Is it Leslie Cohn? Leslie? I haven't seen her in so long.
Because she's still on there. I know who you're talking about.
What's her first name? Is it Leslie? How did I forget her name? Getting old.
Yes, you are getting. Yes.
Bob Lee.
Yes.
Is it Lisa or
What do
Leslie?
you think about Berman when he was doing this?
Berman, Tom Jackson, and Berman. That prime time. Geez, God, man, this every time I hear that song and they're playing the Sunday post game stuff. Oh my God, it's just absolutely beautiful.
Doesn't she do the NHL?
Linda Cohn. Jesus, how the hell did I forget Linda Cohn?
Linda Cohn, yes. She does the NHL stuff mainly.
Terrible.
Along with
Linda Cohn. You had Stu Scott. By the way, they used to make amazing commercials too. Those spoof commercials were freaking
cool as
hilarious.
The other side of the pillow.
Yeah. And then you had those guys that did Baseball Tonight.
How do you think of Van Pelt, SVP?
Oh, Van Pelt's great. He kind of turned wussy towards the end there, but he kind of always had that kind of personality. He did some funny stuff though. His commercials were really good though.
JSJ's asking your thoughts on Brandon Ayuk.
So the Niners have a habit of playing low, and then when it matters, they'll sign you. They did that to Bosa. They did that to Debo. Lynch has that habit. Now, whether they're going to be able to sign him for what he wants, I don't know. That this one might be something, but they're going to have to trade him for not a lot of capital. And I think they're going to want capital, and I don't think anybody's going to trade for him. They're not going to give anybody like a first-round pick for him. That's the thing. The Steelers were a team that they were talking about possibly trading for, but I think they only want to give the Niners a second-round pick, and the Niners want a first. And then the Steelers are not giving up a first-round pick for Ayuk. By the way, I like Carissa Thompson, but I like her work is not bad. I like her work, but I like her better.
Indeed.
And she's been around for a while too.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is
Ron Jaworski, NFL matchup, Baseball Tonight. Just they had so many unbelievable shows. Of course, you got the college football Saturday crew with Lee Corso and those guys. I mean, you had absolute Reese Davis, all those guys, Fowler. I mean, those guys, and they're still great, by the way. Those guys are still great. They were like HBO when it came to TV series. HBO never made a bad TV series for years and years. Always just epic TV series. I just wish they created content like that based off of talent, not inclusion. The inclusion philosophy has destroyed a lot of entertainment. And I've gotten into really deep discussions about that. And it's a hard one. People don't want to talk about it. But I always say, folks, look at the results.
He's in the results business.
The results tell you the reason. And if you don't want to believe it, then that's on you. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. You can label it whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You can call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I go, what happened? Go look. I didn't do that. I didn't create it. I'm telling you what happened. What is the main culprit? It's right there. What's the main culprit of the Lakers sucking ass? Rob Pelinka, Jeannie Buss, LeBron James calling the shots, picking up his son who has no business even in the G League, let alone the NBA, or even in Summer League, which is even worse. So what are you going to tell me in a year when Bronny James is averaging 1.1 point a game? You're going to tell me he has defensive instincts? Is that your only response? What exactly are these instincts? Because I don't know where they are. I haven't seen any instincts. I've seen lazy inability to play NBA basketball. And just because his last name is James, apparently he's earned his way. He's earned his way. That's what Rich Paul or whatever the hell those guys are. He earned his way. He earned his way. Earned his way, my ass. And no one will tell these guys to their face. I want to tell these guys in their face that they're full of shit. You are full of shit.
Rough artist Bronny is seriously taking a roster spot, but it could be worse. It could be the Washington Wizards fans right now really panicking because Alex Sarr put up an 0 for 15 today in Summer League. Although, I mean, this is not the same guy who I saw just down the road in Henderson, the next city over, playing the arena there. And he was actually very impressive there. But yeah, whatever happened today, he's been, obviously struggling throughout Summer League. But yeah, 0 for 15 today for him. But speaking of 0 for 15, I think that's what Bronny has from 3. So yes, he is on taking up a roster spot, and he will be for at least 3 years. And I don't know. I just don't see something good coming out of it. The odds tell you nothing good will come out of it. Yet you committed at least 3 years to this guy, Joe.
I want someone out there who's positive. Are you ready? Some of you might be listening that hate us or hate me because you're like instincts. Okay. I want you guys to put together something for me because every time I hear something, there's nothing backing up what they're saying. Tell me why this kid's going to be good. Tell me. And don't tell me he gets into passing lanes. You're going to need to show me and tell me when and how. You have to. That's it. You're going to have to prove it to me. But the thing is, you can't because I've watched all the games. I've watched all the highlights, actually, I should say, of him because apparently he's very popular. And there's a lot of stuff online that you can just watch him play.
And the thing is, Joe, because people say, oh, he's only the 55th pick, but why is the media paying so much attention to this 55th pick? Thus,
because they're money whores. That's why. They're money whores. So the other thing is, if you're going to use the 55th pick excuse, why did he get a 3-year deal? Folks,
with the 4th.
I already said this before. You can't have both. It doesn't work like that. You can't do both. Why did he get a 3-year deal? When was the last time a 55th pick had a 3-year guaranteed deal, a 4-year contract? Tell me when.
Isaiah Wong didn't get it.
I'll wait.
Last year, he didn't get it.
No, he had a 2-year contract. I don't even know if the second year was guaranteed either. The whole point of the second round is to save money. That's what the second round is for. The Lakers love giving out extended contracts to second round picks. THT, Max Christie, Bronny James. They spend all their time and effort giving second round picks all the goddamn money. And what happened when you gave that money to THT? You lost Caruso. What happened when you gave Max Christie that money? You got yourself stuck in the damn apron where you have to make LeBron take a pay cut. What happened when you got Bronny signed? Now what? Now you got to stay with him for 3 years. Are you really going to trade him after LeBron leaves? Let's say after next year, if he does, or after the year after that? Are you going to have the balls to trade him? Are you going to have the balls to not take the team option? That's another one.
THT is a free agent, JSJ. That's a good point. And these spots are lining up fast. So now you get into the situation, Joe, where Rob Pelinka can't even dump anyone onto another team because all these rosters are virtually signed up.
You better get on your knees, folks. I mean, get on your knees, pray to Jesus, pray to Allah, pray to whoever you pray to. And you better hope a miracle happens. That's all that's going to change this. That's it. You need a miracle. You need J.J. Redick to turn into Pat Riley. Problem is, Pat Riley had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, and James Worthy with Byron Scott and Michael Cooper. How the hell are you going to do what Pat Riley did with Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo, Austin Reeves, and a one-way player, LeBron James, and your one dual threat guy who's not going to have any help again this year? How the hell is this guy going to turn to Pat Riley with those guys and no depth? And we got to hold our hopes on a rookie. Poor bastard's going to have so much pressure on him. You know, they're going to expect him to be this guy when he's a rookie.
Juan says, I still believe.
Why do you believe that, Juan? What has Rob done to make you believe he's going to make a deal? And how is he going to make the deal?
Well, let me mention it to our audio audience. I still believe Gerald and Joe, Rob Pelinka will not make any moves, and I'm happy about that because our roster last year will be back next season, and I'm excited for the next season. Good for you, Juan. But for the same reasons that you're excited are the same reasons probably why I'm not excited, because I just don't think that this roster elicits, for me, in my experience watching one, it does not elicit excitement for me. I mean, unless all these players, Joe, just reach the potential that we were thinking that they were going to have when we signed them last season, unless that happens, that's, which again, in a Western Conference where a lot of these teams got better, I think Golden State got better. I think Sacramento got better. I think Phoenix is what it is. If they get healthier, they'll be better. I think all these teams around the Lakers, Dallas, I think it got a little better. Denver, yeah, may got a little worse, but do you think with Jokic and if Murray is healthy for an entire season, do you think they're going to fall that far down past the Lakers? Then you've got Houston. We saw all the talent Houston has on their summer league team, and those guys may not even be getting the bulk of the playing time in Houston. Don't forget we have to mention OKC and New Orleans. If Zion is healthy, they could be real trouble. And let's not forget about Memphis. I know you're not as high as Memphis as I am, but if they're healthy, those three that they have, they could be a problem as well, Joe. This is a better Western Conference than it was last season. And we didn't even mention the Clippers in the toilet bowl.
Well, the Clippers have gotten worse for sure.
Yeah, I think they have. I think that's the one team that the Lakers can take solace in that they're going to be better in.
And Phoenix is almost similar to the Lakers, almost identical in terms of.
But they had health issues last year with Booker and I think Durant as well. But you're right. You're right. They can't. They're already well into the second apron. They're going to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in tax. They can't do anything, and they're going to lose draft picks too, or get them pushed back to the end of the first round, whatever the penalty is. So they're already screwed.
It's not good. Yeah, it's not good. We're going to have to. There's a lot of time, though, man. Jesus. August.
And I hope we're wrong, Juan. I hope you are right.
3 months, 3.5 months until first game start. Again, the word hope is a stupid word most of the time. I say it just to finish off a sentence, but I don't really believe in the word hope. Hope is a waste of my time. I don't care for hope. I'm about
I hope
get it done or don't. And if you can't get it done, fix it.
He thinks the Lakers will actually improve to 4th or 5th this season. So there you go. Alan says we will win 47 games or more.
And how's that going to happen?
I mean, we want to know why. What makes you think that the Lakers are going to win more than 47 games this season?
Mm-hmm. When the schedule comes out, we'll go over it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Before we head on out, though, Joe, something a little different. I did this last year. I do want to go ahead and put in the chat for anyone out there thinking about going on Amazon for Amazon Prime Day or days, which is today and tomorrow. and they're looking for any Lakers things that are on sale, I just put the link in the chat. If you're interested, click on that while you're listening to us, and you can check out everything that's on sale on Amazon that is Laker related right there for you. So you think about picking up an extra clothing, sweats, shorts. I don't know if they had any shirts, but yeah, other paraphernalia, Lakers paraphernalia. Those are all the Lakers Prime Day deals right there for you, all lined up. So,
what a guy!
Yeah. I did it last year. Thought I'd do it this year. I spent some time with Amazon today. So, you want to get your kid? You want to get your kid a travel student backpack? It's on sale with LeBron on it. So,
Why the hell would I do that?
I'm just asking if you did. If you want to, it's there. It's on sale. Black Mamba inspirational quotes poster. That's on sale. Lakers all-time greats facsimile laser engraved signature basketball photo is on sale. Oh, yeah, decent stuff.
I do have some LeBron and Laker merchandise.
Okay.
That I bought from my buddy. Was at Walmart. There was a bunch of sales for Laker gear. This is years ago, like in the 2018, I should say. And I said, just buy it all because they were selling stuff for real cheap. Not a lot of people bought it though.
But yeah, Xbox, you're right. They're now, you can play Xbox on the Fire Stick. Yep. And they're pushing that hard. Yes. They even have, for Amazon Prime Days, they have a special deal for actually just that. So if you want to buy a Fire Stick and play Xbox through that, you can. So there you go.
Yay.
I know. Hey. Xbox is trying to do anything they can to go ahead and do something good. Joe Ingles says Juan is so positive he thinks the Lakers finish 5th or 4th. Yes, he is, and more power to him for that. I really compliment on his positivity, and I'm hoping he's right or wrong. So,
hope. Back to the hope again, huh?
I'm gonna just hope that we're wrong. I don't think we're gonna be wrong, but yeah, there you go. We've been wrong before. You said it before. We've been wrong before. Not usually. We have a pretty good track record on being right on this show. So.
We've been usually wrong when we're positive about stuff.
Yeah, me saying the Lakers would win the title last year, that was my wrong. But yeah, there you go. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But again, wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. If you're interested in looking at some Laker paraphernalia that's on sale for Amazon Prime Day, I just put the link in the chat. Go ahead and check it out. Tomorrow for Team USA, they are in Abu Dhabi once again playing Serbia at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. That is on FS1. And then tomorrow night, our Los Angeles Lakers at 0-5. They take the court at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and Sportsnet as well against the Atlanta Hawks. So it'll be Bronny against Ricochet. Interesting. Very interesting. Yes, Xbox. We did start the show by mentioning our paying our respects to, of course, the entire Bryant family on the loss of Jelly Bean Joe Bryant, and wanted to go ahead and pay respects for that. I know that as was mentioned in the tweet by Kobe's widow, that she mentioned about the fact that it wasn't exactly the greatest relationship in the world, but still paying the respects to the entire Bryant family for that. And then Lindsey Harding, the G League Coach of the Year, has signed on to become an assistant with the Los Angeles Lakers. So,
Curtis Fair, you got to watch Shawshank when Morgan Freeman tells Andy Dufresne about hope. Hope
Great
can
movie.
drive a person mad.
Absolutely great movie. Fantastic movie.
By the way, it didn't do well in the box office.
Yeah, I know. It was a bomb the first time. But people, you know what got TNT and TBS? They got their clamps on it and they reran it to death. That's what really got it going. And plus VHS sales as well.
And that's what's killed movies in terms of its profitability is they don't have second and third stages in how to bring in revenue. So before you used to have the theater, then it would go to rental, then it'd go to home video, then you'd have cable and satellite. You had 4 different streams that you can make money. Now it's essentially 2. It's either theater or it goes to streaming. And most of the streamings are people already paying a subscription, so you don't really know if they're really going to make that much money on that.
Yep. But I tell you what, Joe, it's been a great episode. I cannot thank you as always for being a part of it. Tomorrow we'll do the wrap up at the end of the evening on Team USA and also as well the Lakers and how well they did in Summer League. Maybe even I'll do a playback. I'll let you guys know if I'm available for a playback. I'll put that on if I can. But Joe, any last thoughts? Or Slice de Bone.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yes, I said Sly for short.
Who the hell? Does anybody know who that is?
No comment. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
No.
I didn't think so. Fulano says, even if they don't win the chip, they will win over 50. Yeah, Vegas is not really.
They're slated to win 44.
Yeah.
But those numbers are usually always low.
Well, except here in Vegas, Joe, because the Lakers fans, they come into like right now, they're here. That come in from Cali. They come and they bet up on the Lakers. So that usually takes it a little bit up. So that number may be higher than what Vegas actually thinks. So
oh yeah.
Maybe they may be thinking 42, 43 wins.
Mark, don't get too giddy on us now.
Yes. Well, we appreciate it. We got some great, like I said yesterday, we got some really good comments after the show went off.
Guys, 19 and 17 isn't that crazy. Come on. Give the guy a break.
Yeah.
If it's 29 and 14, yes. Poor guy. But that was the norm when I was growing up.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. But yes, tomorrow we'll give you a full recap as we saw it with Team USA and also as well the Lakers playing against the Atlanta Hawks. Joe and I will be back. Who knows? Maybe we'll get some additions. Maybe John will stop by. Maybe Jamie. Who knows? We'll stop by. But always glad to have you stop by right here. The Lakers Fast Break Podcast.